Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Tech Takeaways. I'm here with my usual gang of delinquents, Jason Fitzgerald.
Hello.
And Wayne Miller.
Hello.
Sorry about calling them delinquents. It's just been a long day. So on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about a topic that's extremely important and is based on making sure that you've got your cybersecurity baseline posture absolutely right. And one of the ways of doing that is to do that by using the Cyber Essentials framework. And we are lucky, myself and Wayne, to have a proper expert in helping people to get their Cyber Essentials framework. You know him as a co-host of Tech Takeaways, but we also know him as Jason Fitzgerald, Cyber Essentials expert. Hi, Jace.
Hello.
So why don't we kick off first with maybe a little bit of an introduction for people who are not aware of what Cyber Essentials is to what's Cyber Essentials?
Yeah, okay. So Cyber Essentials is a framework that we can work against. So it's defined by the UK government, published on their website, so the NCSC website. And essentially, it's a framework so that organisations can obtain a minimum level of security within their environment. So the way that the government use this is they encourage businesses to go and be more cyber secure, cyber savvy, and the way that they do that is they say an easy way into considering that in your business is Cyber Essentials, and here's a nice handy framework for you to work against.
So what are the key components of Cyber Essentials, and is there more than one framework?
So with Cyber Essentials, there is just that framework, although there are some others outside of that, ISO, NIST that you could work against. But Cyber Essentials is almost the entry-level baseline into that. It's applicable to organisations of all sizes, literally very small companies all the way right up. The framework is designed in such a way that an organisation of any size can follow it. But essentially, it's split into 5 key areas. So we've got firewalls, so essentially who can access your network from remote, whether you're allowing certain things out of your network. Secure configuration, so are devices that are on your network secure, and do you maintain them in a secure configuration? Patching and updating, we've covered this on a previous podcast, but that's absolutely essential for maintaining cybersecurity baselines. Endpoint protection and user access control. So who is allowed to access your systems and why are they allowed to access them?
So one of the things that I think sometimes people are concerned about when we talk about Cyber Essentials is, isn't this just more techie stuff, or isn't this somebody going to come along and sell me techie stuff? But Cyber Essentials isn't really about technology, is it? Not
really, no. No, it's more procedural based. So there is no requirement to purchase any technology to support Cyber Essentials. If we look at Windows operating system, Apple mobile phones, Android phones, whatever you've got installed, the security features that are built into those from the off are enough to get you through Cyber Essentials. It's more around how you're using those devices. So an example of this would be if we go and buy a printer that can join onto the network. That printer will have a default username and password on it. It will, and there will be thousands of it that they have the same username and password. So before we put that on the network, are we ensuring that password is changed for a more secure, a unique password? So it's more around the procedures and not necessarily about the technology. Although we encourage those that have got technology and have already invested in, if we look at endpoint protection, for example, what features have we got in there that can bolster the procedures within Cyber Essentials? So for example, one of the controls with Cyber Essentials is administrator accounts shouldn't be able to access email or access web pages. No, you can cover that with procedure to say anyone with an admin account sign this paperwork to say you won't access email and you won't access the web on it. Okay, that's fine. That's one way of doing it. But if you've got a firewall, for example, or endpoint protection, that you could say enforce that so that even if an admin were to try and web browse, they're blocked. That makes sense to do it because you've already got that available to you.
So sat here today, people are going, right, where do we get started with Cyber Essentials or Cyber Essentials Plus? What's the difference, Jason, between?
Yeah, so the only difference between Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus is that Cyber Essentials is a formal written response to the criteria. So the way it looks is there are roughly 50 questions, and those questions will be around how do you provision devices before they join your network? How do you ensure that admin accounts are kept to admins and not shared with others? So procedural stuff. And when we submit that, that is then assessed. So it's assessed remotely by an assessor from the body, and they will look at it and they will give you a score. Depending on your score, you will pass or fail, and you'll receive your certificate if you pass. The difference between Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus is where an assessor will attend your site. So they will come on site and they will say, your Cyber Essentials says that you are managing your admin accounts in this way. Can you prove to me that that is the way you are doing it? They will validate that what you've given as a response as part of Cyber Essentials matches what they find on site. So it's important to state that if for an organisation that wants to go to Plus, there is a requirement that you hold Cyber Essentials first. But often what we will do is for an organisation that's working towards Plus, we will do an assessment. We will help them with that. So we engage, we do a gap analysis essentially. So myself or member of the team will come in and work with the IT or work with the business to understand what it is that they need to be meeting criteria-wise, and then where it falls foul. So patching is a prime example. Patching is quite difficult to do. So there's a requirement that high severity patches are installed within 14 days of release. So how do we make sure that is being done? And from that, we can take an action plan that says, okay, if you want to go after Cyber Essentials, these are the areas that we need to tackle, and this is how we'll do it.
And so actually, Wayne, just wanted to add to that, because obviously you was asking a question about where do people get started. I thought one of the things maybe worth adding, and just from increasingly our experience with this, is why should people bother at all? And I think, there's two reasons. There is and I think thankfully most of the organisations, certainly the projects I've seen Jason run, those organisations aren't just doing a checkbox exercise. They are keen to improve their cybersecurity posture, their cybersecurity baseline. They take the advice in Cyber Essentials very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And in lots of cases, they will use technology to enforce a lot of the policies and procedures. So you're seeing that at one point, they just want to be better at cybersecurity. But what we are seeing increasingly, and I think this is only going to continue to grow, is to supply under certain contracts, to supply certain customers.
Tenders, etc.
Yeah, they are getting asked to, what is your cybersecurity position?
Seeing it more frequently now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think certainly, and this is across. I mean, there's an organisation we've dealt with previously who are a relatively small organisation, but dealt with very, very big customers. And they spent an incredible amount of money on cybersecurity, and the driver was that their customers demanded, if you want to continue to supply us. And I'm not saying Cyber Essentials is not an expensive thing to go through, but actually the requirement to have that level of some kind of certification or some kind of framework that you adhere to say, I am doing some things around cybersecurity. So I think if people are listening to this and thinking, well, why should I bother? One, absolutely to improve your cybersecurity, but two, if you're not being asked yet, you will get asked increasingly in the future, do you have Cyber Essentials? Do you have some kind of cybersecurity regulation, some kind of cybersecurity certification to say, if I'm going to work with you, I can trust as part of my supply chain that you take security seriously. And
I mean, that's good advice. But sat here today, how long does it take to start cybersecurity till you get, Cyber Essentials complete, and then maybe to go on and look at Cyber Essentials Plus? What kind of time frame? Yes. And what's the impact on the IT department?
So
is it just IT? Sorry.
Okay. So is it just IT? No. As with everything cybersecurity, it's whole business buy-in because of the processes and procedures with that. IT massively support it.
Okay.
But it's about getting a wider business buy-in because there are procedural changes, or there may be procedural changes. And in terms of kind of how long it takes, it really depends on the infrastructure and the policies in place. Typically, It normally takes a couple of months to go through,
Okay.
kind of understand. And this is just, some are a lot quicker, some take a little bit longer, but kind of ballpark, a couple of months from understanding where we are, putting a plan in place to make any changes that need to be done, and then acting on those changes and getting it assessed. I think, we're seeing it more and more from business insurers asking, do you have this in place? Are you taking cybersecurity seriously? Prove it. Prove to me that you've got Cyber Essentials. And Cyber Essentials itself, for organisations with a turnover of less than £20 million, will qualify for a free insurance policy as part of Cyber Essentials.
Okay.
So the way that works is, if your turnover is less than 20 million, you can opt into it. It's as part of the assessment. Should you obtain Cyber Essentials, you can then invoke that insurance policy should you need to, if there's a cyber attack on your business.
So we're saying this will have a positive impact on anyone who wants. Well, we're seeing cyber insurance going through the roof, aren't we? In some cases, we spoke to someone yesterday who said the questions they're getting asked this year versus last year a lot more intrusive, and the premiums tripled in some cases. So this can only have a positive effect on cyber insurance. So, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, I think first, Jason, I think it's a great conversation. And thanks for kind of sharing some of your expertise in this space. And I think for people who are looking at whether they should bother with Cyber Essentials, there's some great points there, Wayne, about the idea that this is going to be a positive impact on your business. It will help you to improve your security. It will help you to have a better process around how you do security. It's going to offer you some free stuff, so some free stuff in terms of insurance for companies of a certain size, and it's going to help you to win business, maybe where some of your competition who haven't done Cyber Essentials might not be winning business. So, so I think some real positives there. So, as we wrap up, Jace, if we wanted to give somebody, the show's called Tech Takeaways after all, if you wanted to give somebody kind of a key takeaway, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, the key takeaway would be, if you are interested in improving your security, regardless of whether you want to do Cyber Essentials certification, go to the NCSC website and fill in the questionnaire on there relating to Cyber Essentials, because what that will do is that will give you an output as to the areas that you need to focus on, and you can go and tackle it in your own time.
Well, that sounds like a great
We can get the link for that and put it in the notes.
We can we can share the link with
links
that.
in show notes.
Absolutely.
Technology going mad. So, and again, on that technology going mad bombshell, thank you for spending time with us and watching this week's episode. Hope you found that useful. I think it's Cyber Essentials is a rare treat of a government framework that has lots of value to it. So, so thumbs up for that. So, Jason, Wayne, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you want to make sure you catch all episodes of Tech Takeaways, then do subscribe. You can subscribe here on YouTube, and of course in all good homes of podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other places. So until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.